So how did you discover singing bowls?
Well, I had gone to a Chinese cultural festival in Phoenix. And I took my family, and we were walking, and I heard this sound, and it stopped me. I said, "What is that?" And I turned around, and I saw a person playing a crystal bowl, and I was fascinated. And then a couple years later, in 2003, I had met a person from India who had this bowl right here. This was
Oh wow.
the first bowl I ever actually up close and personal experience. And he did a demo for me, and it was an instant shift. It was something that I had never experienced before. I had this overwhelming sense of peace and stillness, and I just felt relaxed, and it's just this feeling of healing. Healing had come over me. I mean, I was a therapist, but I'm also a survivor of domestic violence myself, and I just felt super relaxed, and I ended up buying this bowl from him because I said, please let me buy this from you, and I used to play around with it at home, and I didn't really understand it at the beginning. I just would just use it for myself.
So, well, aren't you a healer yourself? Do you really consider yourself a healer?
Well, no, I facilitate that, and the bowls facilitate that. But people have the capacity within themselves to heal themselves. They just sometimes they don't know that. So I just facilitate, but people heal themselves.
Well, weren't you a counselor or something like that for over 20 years?
Yes, I worked in a domestic violence shelter. I owned and operated a safe house for women. So most of the people that I worked with had some manifestations of PTSD, so some trauma, anxiety, depression, and it manifested in other areas like eating disorder, substance abuse.
Oh wow.
So trauma just really affects people, and just because it was a domestic violence shelter, I saw all kinds of things. So there's refugees that stayed there sometimes, and
Okay.
just a lot of different people with a lot of different stories, but it all came down to trauma.
Okay. So what is vibrational therapy?
Well, using my experience as a therapist, I and my experience doing singing bowl classes and sound healing classes, I combine the feelings that people would tell me that they would get by using. I use these bowls and put it directly on people's bodies and use my experience with therapy to help people relax. And from what they've told me and what I've seen, it's just nothing short of amazing. It's a combination of both.
That's cool. Well, can I get a little sample?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
So they create this resonance.